Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought we'd do a little bit more work on our Sycamore long bowl today. Now, as from the last episode, we've finished off smoothing down the bowl, at least as much as we're able to do before it dries out and we can finally sand it. And that's where we've got to for now. Now, because we've finished with the bowl, we can now start removing all of the waste wood on the sides. So this hole here and this hole here, which we were using to secure it down the bench, are no longer required. Now, as you can see, I've put some saw cuts into either side that meet roughly where I've lined up to have some kind of handle. And the easiest way to do this, and the quickest and easiest way, should I say, is if you put a couple of stop cuts in, and then we can split down this line, remove these 4 large chunks of waste material on the end, and then we're good to go to start carving down with our axe. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you there for the time being. I'm just going to very quickly knock off these 4 corners with the axe. And the way you do that, I apologise for the planes going overhead, guys. I've been trying to avoid them today, and they just keep on coming over while I'm filming. But the easiest way to do this is to take your axe or a throw or any kind of implement like that, line them up with the saw cuts that you've made, give them a sharp tap on the top with a mallet, and that will split those off nice and evenly with any luck. So what I'm going to do, let me just line these up now. And you want to spend a little bit of time making sure these are well lined up to prevent yourself from having any problems later on. And that's exactly what I was trying to avoid, and I'll show you this just for your benefit. So I've gone slightly too far there, and you can see the split is coming down past where my saw cuts are. Now, it's also split through the bowl on the other side, so if I just take the axe off, I can show you this. There is a very small split developing just down here, which is not what we want. That's fine, it's still salvageable, at least I certainly hope it is. So let me try splitting down with a little bit less waste. And again, the grain of this wood is really trying to split out away from this cut. So if you see, let me see if I can find a good example. There we go. So you can see the grain of this wood running down the back here. And obviously it does run off slightly to the side, which I must admit I hadn't picked up on until I started doing this. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in with my saw a little bit further in. And we should be able to salvage this. So I'm going to cut just for a second, and I'll come back once I've made this saw cut. Right then, guys, well, disaster averted, at least for the time being. And I thought long and hard about leaving this particular bit of footage in. Obviously, you know, no one likes watching things go wrong, but actually I thought this is a perfect example just to demonstrate to you the kind of things that can go wrong when you're carving, especially something on the slightly larger side like this. Now, you probably can't even see it, but just here where my finger is the split that was starting to develop. It's probably gone about ½ an inch down into the bowl. Now, that's not necessarily a problem. It does run the risk of it splitting down as it dries, because there's obviously a natural weak point there now. But I'm going to persevere and carry on regardless. Now, the best thing we can do to try and prevent this from splitting is to carve in the sort of the general outline and the curves of the outside of the bowl by taking away this saw cut and actually putting the curve of the bowl in with the axe. We do reduce the risk of splitting slightly, but whether it's going to be enough to stop the piece from being ruined, I honestly couldn't say. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move the camera a little bit closer in, and we'll make a start with our axe. Right then, guys, so we're now going to start bringing in the outer section of this bowl, and to do that, what I'm going to do is start by bringing the outer side as close as I can to the internal wall of the bowl, and the easiest and quickest way to do that again is by using the axe. And what we're going to do is we're going to first of all break up the fibres about halfway up that run along this bowl, like so, And by doing that, it just makes it a lot easier to remove this material. If you come in sort of halfway up or a third of the way up and start trying to split down with your axe straight away, there is a big risk of taking away too much material, splitting off a large chunk. So by coming in with just a few small cuts along the sides first, it breaks up the fibres of the wood, and then when you come down, they all come off fairly nice and evenly. Now, as I say, I'm going to try and bring this fairly close to the internal wall of the bowl, and then we can move around and start smoothing down sort of what's going to become the bottom edge of the bowl. Right then guys, well that's one half of the bowl roughed out at the very least. As you can see, there's about 1/4 of an inch gap between the wall of the bowl and the inside. Now I've left that bit of waste there very deliberately because I'm going to have to come smoothing around here a little bit later on, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of wiggle room just in case I cut in a little bit too far. Obviously I've started to round down what's going to become the bottom of the outside of the bowl. Still a fair bit worth of work left there as well, but what I'm going to now do is move over and start working on the other side and bring them down at least so they're both even. Right then guys, well I think we'll leave it there for today. As you can see, we have rounded off the sides of the bowl. Certainly not finished by any means, a little bit of axe work left and then some finer work to come. You can also see, if I step back slightly, I've just started to sort of smooth down these handles. These are obviously going to go a lot smaller than this. Really I just want little tabs at the end, so it's just something you can hold on to when you're moving this around. But all in all, not a bad afternoon's work. And as I say, I think what I'll do, I'll come back to this for the next episode and we'll start refining this bowl down a little bit more. We'll do a little bit more work with the axe, and then we'll move over to either a draw knife, maybe my push knife, maybe even I'll just use one of my bushcraft knives. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'll go through a couple of different techniques on this and how you can start smoothing these edges down. But anyway guys, so that's it for today. As always, hope it was useful. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.